Following the release of the third and final season of Netflix's original series Dark, I have reviewed the third season, which was my previous video, but in today's video I'm going to rank all three of the Dark seasons. Dark follows several families in the German town called Winden as some kind of supernatural things play out after finding two dead children in a forest. As we find out watching through, that supernatural force is time travel caused by dark matter. So without further ado, let's get into my ranking. Coming in at third place, we have season 1. Now, just to clarify, this whole list was very hard to make as they are all on the same level. So it was very difficult to choose. For a few episodes, it is actually unknown that it's time travel. So the way things have been set up with the cave, with the disappearance, with just this whole dark and creepy tone, it does really make it like grab your attention and get a bit of chills. From synopsis I read going into this, I wasn't aware that it was time travel because that is supposedly a spoiler for the first season. So just watching the first few episodes where it was all like dark and they go to this cave and their torches stop working or they stop flickering, I was getting some weird creepy vibes and I was so excited for the rest of this season. Not only with the cave but also the power plant, you could tell something was up with it. Once again, weird and creepy vibes, and once it got to the time travel, it did really make sense. Although confusing, it makes sense and it isn't afraid to do some weird creepy things. So in Back to the Future we've seen time travel be affected, as in Marty McFly's dad is no longer a loser, he's this famous author. When meddled with time travel in this, it does change things, but it does it drastically. So you remove someone's little brother from the equation from that timeline or whatever, and then in the future they turn out to be their dad or something. I've probably explained that wrong, but stuff like that kind of happens and it gets really weird and messed up. Coming in second place, we have the newly released season 3. Now if you want a more in-depth review on it, just check out my previous video. I'm sure I'll leave something in the top corner to go check out for that video. But as I specified in that, the first 2 seasons were about time travel. The first season mostly traveling to the past, second season traveling to the future. You were thinking, oh, what could I do with this season? But then one of the last lines of season 2, they said the question isn't what time but what world, or something like that. So they established a multiverse, alternative realities, and that's what this season pursues throughout it. And as it's alternative realities, somewhere Jonas does not exist, makes for some cool interactions with his friends. Well, his friends, as they don't know who he is, and he's just come barging in as if he knows them. And you really do kind of pity him at times because he's got no one to go to who knows him because he doesn't exist in that world. As they are trying to prevent the apocalypse, you see in this season people are not afraid to kill their friends to see if that undoes the knot and prevents the apocalypse. I mentioned thoroughly in my review that there's this mirrored effect where the actions play out with a different character in the other reality, whether that's Martha and Jonas or just some certain objects. And as it is my rankings, I'm allowed to go into spoiler details, so this has such a good ending. Although some might find it sad, I found it a fitting ending and really different to what we've seen from time traveling, with Jonas and Martha fading away from existence as they weren't involved with this timeline, which makes for a great ending, probably the best one I've seen this year. Now, coming in at first place, I have season 2. Now, as I said, these were all very close, so this one's narrowly in first. There isn't a clear winner here. Let me know in the comments what your list would be, as it would probably be very different to mine. Yes, but anyway, as I said, season 1 established time travel, so we were just kind of getting used to it now. This season, we know about it. This season, we know about it so we can pursue crazier things. Crazier things take us to the future, which they didn't over-exaggerate. Many things which take place in the future we've seen, they're trying to make it seem like it's the future by doing some over-the-top things. This plays it very simple. Yes, it has been an apocalypse, so everything is broken, but you really do buy that is the future, just how people are acting and how they do not take any prisoners. Once again, this creates some mind-blowing scenarios and isn't afraid, once again, to do insane things. As we see in this season, an adult man attempts to kill a child just to prevent the apocalypse in the future. And what I struggled with a lot with this season is keeping track of who's who. So this season does a really great job of kind of making something distinct for someone to stand out. Whether it's them being mute, so they have to use sign language. A certain mole, Jonas gets the neck scar from when he's being hanged. Of course, there's the iconic yellow rain jacket, and I do not remember his name, but the guy who lost an eye, so he has one of his glass panels filled in black. Flawless execution for this season. Everything is amazing. The time travel is mind-blowing, and that is why it is coming in at number 1. Now, moving into my final verdict, as you could tell, this is a really great show. It explores time travel to every little detail and has some mind-blowing scenarios which come out of it. It is highly ambitious and isn't afraid to do things people might frown upon, and it is thoroughly consistent with each season being great. As you could tell, it was hard for me to decide which was the best and which was the worst. Despite that, there is a lot of information, so it is very confusing. So if you're gonna watch this, it should be with your full attention, and I do recommend watching it. But yeah, just make sure you're fully prepared, as it's a lot to handle. In terms of ratings, I'll put them up on screen now. I believe all of them will get an 8 out of 10 from me. They're all great. I do like it a lot, but I am not as big of a fan as some people are, just because it gets really confusing, so I might not fully understand every little detail. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this ranking of the Dark seasons. Please let me know in the comments what your ranking is. I'll make sure to reply to that. And yeah, if you could please subscribe. We're trying to reach 50 subscribers. I'd really appreciate that. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in my next video.